offensive. If he doesn't do those things, adios amigo. And that's a memo. Now for the top story tonight, two other views of the Bush White House. Joining us from Washington is presidential historian Alan Lichtman, who teaches at American University. And here in the studio, Democratic consultant Deidre Levine. All right, Professor, we usually go to the ladies first, but because you are kind of quasi-independent, although sometimes you get a little to the left.
True.
Give me your assessment of the Bush White House. It's been 5.5 months going on 6.
Look, on Fox Air, I gave Bush an A- for his early presidency. But I think some of the things that propelled him to the tremendous success of the tax cut, and that cannot be underestimated, are the same things that have caused him trouble right now. I agree with a lot of your assessment. I won't repeat it. But I think, like the Republicans in Congress after 1994, he has misread his mandate. He has pushed his mandate too far to the right on a number of issues, including the environment. It's not just the liberal media, it's the American people. He's down to the 30s in approval of his policy on the environment. That's anemic numbers. Secondly, I absolutely agree with you. He has not established that essential mystic bond with the American people that only a president can do. Dick Cheney can't do it, Colin Powell can't do it, Karl Rove can't do it, only George Bush can do it. And I'll say the same thing to him as I said to Al Gore, who didn't listen to me: fire the hucksters, fire the handlers, talk to the American people.
Yeah, there's no
people
question that he hasn't done it, and he's capable of doing that. But you know, it's hard. I know what you're saying about the environment, but to me that's more propaganda than anything else. And again, it's Mr. Bush's fault because he hasn't articulated his position. He's less intrusive. He wants the states to have more power. He wants local people to have more power. And this goes against the big government-driven green movement.
So he's also got the Liberty League problem. Remember the Liberty League, the organization back in the 30s that had some pretty cogent critiques of Franklin Roosevelt's New Deal, but they hobnobbed with all the top hats, the fat cats, and they were easily portrayed as the folks who just wanted to help the rich. George Bush has found himself painted right into that same corner.
All right,
Ronald Reagan somehow avoided it. Bush hasn't been able
to
do it.
Good analysis. All right, now let's go over to Ms. Levine. Now, you just like Bush intensely because that's your living. You make a living disliking him.
I dislike him intensely because I don't really agree with any of his policies.
Right. He's pro-choice, so you're not going to like him no matter what he does, as I said in the memo. But let's try to step out of your ideology for a moment. He did get his tax cut passed. Most Americans are going to get a check in the next 2 months. That's not a bad thing.
Actually, the recent reports have shown that a lot of Americans who are expecting checks aren't going to get them. And the tax cuts that were put into effect today only help the richest 1% of the nation.
Are you still banging that drum?
Exactly as the Democrats have predicted.
Huh? Well, that's because, the richest 1% pay 60% of the taxes. So if you're going to have an across-the-board tax cut, which, of course, you guys... What about the what I said, to stimulate the economy on the capital gains tax? And that would do it right away. You would be opposed to that?
I would be opposed to that because that's not going to help level out the playing field for middle-income Americans. 50% of Americans right now who are polled by the liberal, leftist, elite media, as you call them, which includes the Wall Street Journal, they were polling the American people, even though the commissions were polled by the newspapers themselves. But the American people, 57% of them said that Bush's plans so far benefit the rich.
Yeah, but because that's the propaganda. Though.
Only 8% of Americans say that they benefit the middle class. 2% say that they benefit the poor. What we need is more across-the-board help from middle-class Americans who are looking to just pay their bills, get their kids through college, who want to get to the next level.
I'm disagreeing with you. I think a good economy, if they got the earnings driving again, the corporate economy helps middle and working people. Doesn't help the poor because the poor don't have jobs there. Now, I understand.
Can I jump in a moment?
Go ahead.
Yeah, one thing I think, I'm not going to debate the economy right now. One thing I do think that Bush could do that would help him immensely, and I said this right at the beginning of his administration, he's got to do some things that cut against the grain, that are surprising, that don't seem like road conservative policies. The two things that fell into his lap after the 2000 election were race relations and electoral reform. Imagine if he made those issues his own. Imagine if he said, I, George Bush, are going to guarantee within human capabilities that everyone in America in the next election has their vote counted.
Yeah, I don't know if that's going to resonate, Professor.
Right.
Against the grain.
I don't think that's going to resonate. All right, it's 2 against 1. I think he's lost some more opportunities, but I don't think that's going to resonate because I think most Americans feel that they did have an opportunity to vote, and what happened, happened. What's the one thing, Deidre, the one thing that you object most to in the Bush administration?
I object most to the fact that he doesn't listen to people.
But how do you know that? You're not there.
Well, the only people that he listens to, the people who visited the White House the most over the last months that he's been in the White House, are CEOs, corporate executives. Those are the people that have been visiting the most, not congressional leaders, not Senate leaders. On both sides of the aisle.
Very early on, didn't he?
He's not a consensus builder. He's not a uniter, even though he used all of those buzzwords.
No, I don't think that's it.
All right, go ahead.
I think he's got a divided Republican Party. He's going to decide who he's going to listen to. Is it going to be the Lincoln Chafees, the John McCains, or the solid base of the Republican Party, which is squarely to the right? And that's
well, you know who he's going to listen to. He's going to listen to the right. Of course he is.
That's right. And he's going to lose more moderate support. And that's tough.
His compassionate conservatism has turned into compassion only for the conservatives. It's happened time and time again.
I don't see where he's... Can you give me one example, Deidre, of where President Bush has been not compassionate?
Yeah, he hasn't been compassionate on energy. He's only been compassionate to the big oil companies and not to the environmental standards that Americans want.
He hasn't been compassionate on energy. What do you mean?
He hasn't been because he's only looking for short-term solutions that are going to lower the price immediately, but not looking for the long-term effects of those solutions.
You had an 8-year Clinton administration that screwed up the energy policy in this country so badly that he walks in the door, California's going to fall into the Pacific, and he's got now, yeah, he believes in fossil fuels to help out. But you guys had 8 years and did nothing.
We had 8 years, and ever since 1994, we've had a Congress that has consistently blocked every single proposal. But look, now we had a Congress that, at least for the first few months until Jeffords defected, was Republican in majority in both houses.
All right.
And Bush wasn't able to get anything through that made any sense. In fact, 72 Republicans joined with Democrats on the recent energy proposals, voting against the Republican proposal.
But what do you think the biggest problem, the biggest mistake George W. Bush, very specifically, Professor, not in a philosophical way or not communicating to folks, policy mistake? Deidre thinks it's energy policy. I disagree with that. I think that, that this energy thing has been fouled up for so many years. It'd be impossible for anybody to get out of it instantly.
I do think energy policy and the environment have been his biggest mistakes because those are areas where he's cutting against public opinion in the 70 to 75%.
But you got to look for fossil fuels, Professor. If you
do
don't,
that,
you're not going to have enough energy.
We can look
wait,
there are other ways of dealing with the problem such as conservation, fuel economy standards that he doesn't seem to be serious about. If he had combined his pro-energy policies with real conservation and fuel economy policies, I think he could have sold it to the American people. That was his huge mistake, and it's not just the elite media. He's paying a price in the polls for that bill.
Well, I agree with that. Ms. Levine, as always, thank you very much. And Professor, have a good summer. Next, some disturbing new information about the disappearance of Chandler Levy. And then a horrible story out of Atlanta. Prostitution ring selling children is busted, and the situation has racial overtones. Right back.